U.S. is on high alert as China's satellites display unprecedented combat maneuvers in space. These aren't just routine orbital adjustments. We're talking about sophisticated combat rehearsals happening right above our heads in low Earth orbit. U.S. Space Force officials are growing increasingly concerned as the technological gap with China rapidly narrows. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's a real-world space security crisis unfolding in real time. Buckle up as I break down how this orbital chess match is developing and why it matters for global security. The space battlefield, China's orbital combat rehearsals. Recent intelligence reports have revealed something straight out of a sci-fi thriller. Chinese satellites performing intricate maneuvers in low Earth orbit that military experts describe as dogfights in space. These aren't random movements or standard positioning adjustments. They're calculated, synchronized operations between multiple satellites, the kind you'd expect to see in preparation for orbital combat scenarios. These maneuvers demonstrate China's remarkable progress in space capabilities. Their satellites now coordinate with each other, adjust orbits rapidly, and simulate offensive and defensive positions that could theoretically be used to target other nations' space assets. The sophistication on display suggests years of dedicated research and development that remain largely beneath the radar of Western intelligence agencies. What makes these maneuvers particularly concerning is their apparent purpose. Defense analysts believe China isn't just testing technology. They're rehearsing specific tactical scenarios, potentially including satellite disabling or destruction. The implications are profound, suggesting a military doctrine that views space as a legitimate domain for warfare despite international treaties prohibiting such approaches. America's response: Space Force sound the alarm. U.S. Space Force leadership isn't mincing words about the threat. General Michael Getline delivered a stark assessment, stating that these maneuvers clearly indicate rehearsals for in-orbit space operations with military applications. His warning underscores a growing concern among American military leadership that China's space capabilities are advancing faster than previously estimated. The Pentagon has accelerated its own space defense initiatives in response. The Space Force is rapidly developing countermeasures, including enhanced satellite maneuverability, hardening against electronic warfare, and improved space situational awareness systems. These efforts come with an urgency previously unseen in America's space program since the Cold War. The technological gaps between ourselves and our adversaries are closing rapidly, General Getline acknowledged in a recent briefing. This rare admission signals a significant shift in the Pentagon's public stance on space competition with China. It suggests the U.S. no longer enjoys the overwhelming space superiority it once did and faces a genuine near-peer competitor in orbit. The technological race, China's space warfare capabilities. China's recent demonstrations represent the culmination of a decades-long strategic investment in space technologies. Their satellites now possess advanced propulsion systems allowing for rapid orbital changes, sophisticated sensor arrays capable of tracking other space objects with unprecedented precision, and what appears to be electronic warfare capabilities designed to disrupt the functioning of other satellites. Perhaps most concerning is the evidence of China's advances in satellite-to-satellite coordination. Their spacecraft appear capable of working as cohesive units, sharing targeting data, creating defensive formations, and executing complex tactical maneuvers that will be essential in any space conflict scenario. This level of coordination suggests artificial intelligence integration and autonomous decision-making capabilities that few nations possess. The implications extend beyond military concerns. China's rapidly advancing space program gives increasing leverage in setting international norms for space operations. As their capabilities grow, so does their influence in determining how space will be used and potentially weaponized in the coming decades. International law, the Outer Space Treaty's limitations. These orbital combat rehearsals expose critical gaps in international space governance. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which prohibits placing weapons of mass destruction in space, was written long before technologies like satellite maneuverability and electronic warfare were feasible. The treaty's broad language prohibiting harmful interference with other nations' space activities provides little concrete guidance for today's rapidly evolving capabilities. China's activities operate in this gray area. technically not deploying traditional weapons, but developing capabilities that could disable or destroy other nations' satellites. The absence of clear international norms creates a dangerous environment where nations can push boundaries without definitive legal constraints. Diplomatic efforts to update space governance have repeatedly stalled. Russia and China have proposed treaties banning weapons in space, while simultaneously developing their own space warfare capabilities. The United States has hesitated to support these proposals, citing verification challenges and concerns about constraining its own defensive options in space. The global stakes, why space security matters. The strategic importance of satellites cannot be overstated. They form a backbone of global communications, financial transactions, navigation, and military operations. A significant disruption to satellite networks could paralyze economies, disable military response capabilities, and disrupt everyday activities from airline travel to weather forecasting. China's demonstration of potential anti-satellite capabilities represents a direct threat to this infrastructure. Even limited orbital conflicts could create debris fields that render entire regions of space unusable for decades. The cascading effects of such scenarios, known as Kessler syndrome, could potentially set back human space utilization by generations. Beyond the practical concerns, these developments signal a troubling new phase in great power competition. Space has long been viewed as humanity's common heritage, a realm for exploration and scientific advancement. The militarization of orbit threatens this vision, potentially transforming space into just another battlefield for terrestrial conflicts. The road ahead, preventing an orbital arms race. China's space combat maneuvers have fundamentally altered the strategic landscape above our planet. The United States finds itself in a challenging position, needing to develop countermeasures while simultaneously working to prevent a full-scale weaponization of space that would benefit no nation. Diplomatic engagement is not just advisable. It's absolutely essential as tensions in space escalate. With both China and the United States aggressively advancing their military capabilities in orbit, the risk of misunderstandings or outright conflict is growing by the day. Establishing clear, updated frameworks for responsible behavior in space is the only way to prevent a dangerous spiral that could lead to catastrophic consequences. One of the most pressing concerns is anti-satellite, SAT weapons testing. These tests generate massive amounts of debris that threaten not only military assets, but also civilian satellites and the International Space Station. A verifiable agreement to limit such testing is critical to maintaining a sustainable space environment. Additionally, clear protocols regarding close approaches to other nations' satellites could reduce the chances of misinterpretation and escalation. However, these agreements will only become reality if both China and the United States acknowledge their shared interest in preserving space as a stable, usable domain. Without cooperation, space could quickly become the next battleground, with devastating consequences for global security. The question is, will diplomacy prevail, or are we heading toward a future where conflict in orbit is inevitable? What do you think about these developments? Should nations be allowed to conduct military exercises in space, or should stricter international regulations be implemented? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the Space Grid for the latest updates on space-related news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.